Hi, I'm Dr. Larry Ziegler with LifetimeVibe, and I'm here to help you unpack and assemble your new LifetimeVibe unit. The LifetimeVibe will be shipped directly to you. Keep in mind that this is a shop model and it has not been shipped, so it does not have the packing and shipping bands that will be attached to your model. The only thing that you'll need tool-wise to get started is something to cut through those bands, a strong pair of scissors, or maybe a razor knife, and the ability to cut away the packing tape and get into the boxes. So without further ado, gather your tools and we'll walk you through what to do in getting this machine unpacked and assembled properly. The first box that we will open will be the column box. Simply take your knife, cut away the packing tape, and carefully open the assembly. At this point, remove the cardboard inserts from the box and set them aside. Keep in mind that the other end of this assembly has the wheels and the base assembly on it, so it needs to come out from this end. You can set it flat on the floor and simply slide the assembly out, or you can lift it out, whichever is more convenient for you. And that is the entire column assembly. You can just set this aside for now. This will be the top. You will need to remove these bolts and screws and set them aside for mounting the top assembly, the console, to the top of the column. Very good. Your column assembly is now ready for further installation process. Now remove the plastic and cardboard and the foam protection from the base of the column. The column is now ready for further assembly. Now we're ready to open the base and get this all out and ready to assemble. I want you to remember, this was heavy. You've moved it into the home, hopefully with the help of someone else. I think it's also advisable during this portion of unpacking to have someone else available to help you remove the base from the box. Alternatively, you can cut the corners or edges of the box and lay the box flat and simply remove the base that way. It is a heavy piece. It's the heaviest part. Let's go ahead and cut the tape away on all sides and open this box. Right in the top, you will find the accessories for the machine. And they are the stool or seat, your power cord, the sidebars, your instruction book, your tools, and your usage guide are all included in this package. The tools are simple: a 9/16 standard open and closed end wrench, and the hex key that you'll need to tighten the bolts on the base. Then we're ready to remove the console. The console is not attached to these side pieces, and the control portion of the console is not attached to the lower arms. They will come apart as they come out, so we want to lift this out very carefully, and I'll show you how to do it. Removing the console from the box is quite simple. It's securely wrapped in foam on both ends, and it's fairly easy to pull up and either set on an additional surface or here on top of the box while you remove the foam parts from the ends. Be mindful that the foam is not attached to this piece. It's just inserted over the ends of the handles, so it can fall away depending on how you pick it out. Just be careful. I'm going to just reach down very carefully, lift the entire assembly free, and set it here. It's supported by both edges of the box. And then I'll simply hold it up while I remove the foam from the ends, and the console is free in my hands. I'll now set this piece aside. Now we're ready to remove the base from the box. The base is the heaviest part of the machine that's necessary for it to remain stable and provide good service, but it is important to remove it safely from the box. If you have a second person to help you, you can both just reach in and lift it from the box, or alternatively, like I said before, you can cut down the corners of the box, lay the box flat, and simply slide it away from that space. First thing I'm going to do is reach down and in, and there are styrofoam spacers around the edges. We'll want to remove those so that you'll easily be able to get a hold of the base and lift it from the space. There is a lip on the edge of the plate, and there is a nice plastic wrap that covers the entire base. So carefully lift that from where it sits. You can either push the box aside or set the base down. Depends on your abilities. Please though, get some help. Have two people do this. It is a heavy piece, and we want to make sure that you lift safely. You'll notice that on the base, I've assembled the hardware that goes along with the console and the control panel. And here on the base, there are 6 screws in these 6 locations. You'll want to loosen them with the supplied hex key or Allen wrench. And then by hand, simply remove each of them from the machine and set it aside. They should turn very easily and be very easy to remove. Here on the base, we have the control wire that is currently taped securely to the vibrating platform. Before we install the column, we need to remove that tape and remove it from the wire as well. Sometimes this may require a knife or a pair of scissors, but usually it will slide right off. And that leaves the end of the cable exposed and ready to be plugged in to the console. We are now prepared to mount the column to the base. And there are 2 things to note here. Number 1, there's a metal tab and a slot in the base. These 2 parts line up and allow the column to stand independently while we place the screws that will hold it ultimately to the base. Number 2, there is a U-shaped slot here on the back of the column. We want to make sure that the cable passes through this U-shaped slot and allows for free movement of the cable so it doesn't get trapped between the column and the base. So we simply stand the column, noting how the cable travels right through that slot. We stand it up to the base, match the metal tab to the slot, and the column will stand on its own as you now grab the screws and place them simply hand tight into the base. Let's do that for all 6 screws all around the base. As we continue to place the screws in the base, be mindful you can move the base around a little bit if you need to help get a screw started in any given spot. They're usually very simple to line up. And you shouldn't have to force them. They should turn quite easily. It can be a little tight to reach into the center spots, so I prefer to mount the screw to my hex key and just reach in and get them started that way. And none of these are being tightened down until we get all of them in place. Now our engineers have told us that it is better to tighten the machines on the base first, all four, going from left to right. So I'm going to take them to hand snug first, just turning them basically snug, each one left to right. I'm going to also tighten the ones on top, just hand snug from left to right. And then we'll come back around and tighten each bolt as tight as you can. And again, the top bolts from left to right. Excellent. That portion of the assembly is complete. As we prepare to place the control panel on top of the column, you should note that here in the steel section between the two pieces of this Pennsylvania cherry, there's a channel of steel that goes down. On either the left or right side, you will need to thread the control wire down through this column. It will come out at the bottom and we'll plug it in with the second plug at the base. Here I'm holding the control panel. You can see on the rear of the panel, when it comes to you, the control wire will simply be coiled and tucked away. Just release that from where it is and gently uncoil it so it's nice and straight. Once the cable is completely uncoiled, simply set the console using this center bar as a guide in the groove of the upper column. Make sure this wire stays in the center, and then just set the column right into place. It'll sit right down for you and ready to go. Then you'll take this wire and thread it through either the right or left side and simply send it down towards the bottom. There's plenty of room in there, no need to force it. Once you see it protruding at the bottom, you're ready to continue with the installation. Now that your cable is finished and through the base of the control console and column, you can take the lower plug from your base and the upper plug from your control panel and simply plug them together. There is a little locking tab on one side of the lower plug, and if you look at the upper plug, there's a locking slot on there. They only fit together really one way, so take just a moment and see how they fit together, and then just go ahead and plug them in. On either side of this upper control console, you will have two holes for these bolts. They should line right up. Simply place the bolt through, and on the back, a 9/16 nut. Hand tight, and place those on both sides. Now that you've installed and hand tightened all of the bolts and nuts in the 4 locations around the top of the column below the console, we can go ahead and tighten those up. You can place your hex key in the outside of the head of that bolt and then use your 9/16 wrench on the back side to tighten each of these 4 bolts. Make sure that you tighten them up nice and snug, and then we're ready to move on. Make sure and do all 4 locations, 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. The last step in assembling your machine is to attach the power cord. The power assembly is on the rear of the machine, located right near the wheels. It's a 3-prong assembly. You have a simple 3-prong power plug that's included with it. Simply plug it in firmly and turn the power switch to on. Your machine is now ready to use. Congratulations, you now have a fully assembled Lifetime Vibe. We hope that you enjoy it and have years worth of quality service and exercise in your own home. To operate the machine, simply press the large button in the center to get started. One touch will wake up the machine. The second touch will start the exercise program that you want to use. If you have any other questions about assembly or anything else, look at the instructions that came with the machine or give us a call. We'd be happy to help. You can also look up more things about using the machine, methods, programs, and other utilities that we have on the website at LifetimeVibe.com. Have a great day.